Hello, my friends, and all you hockey fans out there. We are going on with our NHL previews with R&J Media and Puck in Deep. And today we're going to be looking at the New Jersey Devils and what their regular season may look like. We'll be going down the whole roster, forwards, defense, and goaltending, look at individual players and how they may do this upcoming season. Check out all my videos on this channel and go over to R&J Media. I did a couple there. I did the Islanders in Philadelphia. Eventually, I'll have my own soon, very, very soon. I'm going to have another channel for Puck in Deep, where we're going to be doing a lot of live podcasts for games and videos and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a blast. If you like getting in deep to each NHL team of all the NHL teams in the NHL, you're going to really love it. Also, you will get free NHL picks, as I am a professional sports handicapper. I am on what was voted for as the best sports podcast in North America last year, and it's a hockey podcast. It's called The Ice Guys. I'm on there Monday and Wednesdays, but I would recommend you watch it every day because it's some of the finest in the land. All right, let's look at the New Jersey Devils, starting with their first line and working our way down. We got, okay, this is interesting. All preseason, they have been using Dadonov with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Dadonov played for the Dallas Stars last year. They happened to pick him up for like $1 million. It's actually not a bad pickup. He's 36 years old, but he's a guy with a lot of speed. And he's always looked like a guy that should get more goals and more points than he does. But he did get 20 goals last year. He can pot him if given the chance, and he is pretty good at being a complementary piece to a line. In Dallas, they tried him in this situation quite a bit. They put him up and down, up and down. Against certain teams, when they needed speed, they needed somebody to get to the puck first and get the puck out to guys like Hughes or Brad. Of course, at that time, it would have been Hintz and Rantanen later. They played him that way. He played all over the lineup, sometimes on the fourth line, sometimes on the third line. So I can't say that's the best guy to have as your top LW, but I understand as we go through all of the lines here why they're doing what they're doing. They're basically just trying to even their lines out. So we'll see how it turns out. They're sticking with it. They haven't really changed it up too much. I'm using Puckpedia here, and usually they change up the lines based on what the preseason lines are, and he has never really changed off this top line. So that's the way they're going to go with it. Then we got Jack Hughes, which we got to cross our fingers. He doesn't have injury problems like he did last year where they didn't have him for the playoffs. It was tough. It was tough. Jack Hughes is just elite. I mean, he's an elite offensive player, but he's also extremely good defensively. He's actually better than a guy that's been voted for Selkes a couple times, or not voted for. Actually, did he win one Selke? I believe he sure might have. Who gets more love for his defensive play in Nico Hischier. He's a great all-around player. Drives lines. I mean, his offense is unreal. He's just a great competitor. I love Jack Hughes. And putting him with a guy like Jesper Bratt, the thing about this line is Dadonov is not very good defensively. His overall game is pretty meh. And Jesper Bratt is not a guy that really pays attention to the defensive side of the game either. So I think it puts a lot of pressure on Jack Hughes to make up for two players that aren't known for the three-zone defensive play. But Jesper Bratt, of course, is just an elite offense. I think he's an elite offensive right winger as far as offense is concerned. I'm actually surprised he only got 21 goals last year, although his playmaking is exceptional too. As far as anything to do with offense, Jesper Bratt is awesome. More than makes up for his defensive lapses. It's not really lapses as much as he flies the zone a lot in the defensive zone. And I do have to say, Sheldon Keefe, who I'm not a big fan of as a coach, seems to let his players get away with this no problems. He seems to be trying to play an aggressive offensive system in New Jersey where they focus on offensive possession. And I suppose that's the reason why he's trying Dadanoff up here. Because Dadanoff can do that. He can drive offense not too bad. And when he's in the offensive zone, he's pretty good at ragging the puck. He's pretty good at winning battles in the corners and stuff like that. So I get it. But I still say Jack Hughes is going to have to be a little frustrated, having to do a lot of work, more work than I think he should for a first line guy in the regular season to be playing like this. It could be pretty draining on a player when he has to do everything on the defensive side of the puck. So I don't know if they'll keep it that way. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Sheldon Keefe. Maybe he does. But this is probably the reason why he is keeping it that way. This second line of Timo Meier, Hischier, and Mercer, I really like. I like this line. Timo Meier is not that he's not that tall, but he's very thick and he's very solid. He's got a very thick build. He doesn't play extremely physical, but he does go through times when he does play very physical. And when he is, he's kind of a wrecking ball. He's like a tank. He's able to play. He's not bad defensively, if I remember correctly, too. Basically, he's a elite second line left winger who can play up on the top line and still do very well. I know fans get a little bit frustrated with him because he looks like he should be in the 70, 80 point range every year. But he manages usually to be more in the 50 point range. He's a little inconsistent offensively. More than you would think with the talent that he has. And that can be a little bit frustrating. Last year, he had a boost as far as the defensive side of the game is concerned. Overall, I just think he's a well above average second line left winger, and he brings a lot of physicality, which he brings up, not a lot, but he brings physicality that New Jersey certainly needed when they picked him up from San Jose. That brings us over to Nico Hischier, and I'm not saying he's not a good defensive player, but he does get lauded as maybe a little better than he actually is. He 2 years ago, and this is a theme you're going to see. 2 years ago, I would have given you that. He was well above average 3-zone defensive player. But the last 2 years, he has dipped quite a bit. Especially, 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was really bad. And last year, he came back up a little bit. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he is a way better offensive player than given credit for. And he plays against elite competition all the time. So you got to give him a bonus for that as well. But he's got a great shot, excellent passer, drives offense, some of the best in the league. When I say drive offense, meaning his offensive possession game is excellent. And when he gets the puck on his stick in the neutral zone or D zone, it gets out quick. He's very good at that. Overall, like I said, I'm just saying he's a little overrated defensively, but he is a beautiful player. You have two first-line centers, top-end centers on this team. He's a first-line center on most teams that he would play for in the league. I would say like 80%. Somewhere around there at least, without actually going through it. So, without going through every team and figuring it out, I'd say about that. You have two number one centers on a team. There's not too many teams that have that. You got the Oilers with Draisaitl and McDavid. Put down in the comment section what other teams have these top end first liners. There aren't too many. So New Jersey's pretty stacked that way. Now, on the right side, I really like this, trying Mercer up here on the wing. I think he's an underrated kid. He gets, I think fans have expected a lot more of him by this time. But Mercer has never been one, was never gonna be one to put huge offensive numbers up. That's just not what his game is. He can finish pretty well, like above average finishing. Not the best playmaker in the world, but he drives offense not bad. He's played against relatively top competition, solid, average defensive player, but he's a grinder, man. He plays with a lot of pace. He plays physical everywhere on the ice. He creates chaos, but does so without hurting his team defensively, which doesn't happen very often. Actually, usually team guys that play like him are kind of all over the place, over-committing all over the place. And Mercer's not like that. And he's only 23 years old. He still has a lot of room to improve. And I think it's time. I think it's time to give him a chance up here. And I also like him on the right wing, also because of that type of game that he plays. I think he's better on the wing than he is on center. So I love this top two lines. I think this is some of the best. This is one of the best top two lines in the league. And they still have depth as we go down here to Palat, Glass, and Brown. Andre Palat has struggled. Let's just face it. Sheldon Keefe kept on going to him on the top line last year, and it just wasn't working. He's a solid defensive player, but he's getting up there in age at 34. He used to rely heavily on his speed, and he's still fast, but he's not as fast as he used to be. I think putting him on the third line here really helps out a lot because he'll play against lesser competition. He'll have more chance. He won't have to play against the elite players quite so much, and I think he's overmatched that way right now. In Tampa, that was not the case. He was just a beautiful complementary piece to a top line or something like that. But he's not that anymore, and he's making $6 million a year, so you're not really going to be able to move him, so you might as well use him to the best of your ability, and I think this is doing so here. Cody Glass and center, he's a smart defensive player. You love for him to be more physical than he is. He's 6'3", 201, a little light for being 6'3", but he's just never going to be that. He's not a bad passer. He can make plays. He can look pretty slick out there, to tell you the honest truth, but it just doesn't seem to turn into offense too often. Mostly because I think he's just playing, he just plays a solid positional game. Glass is the kind of player that isn't out of position a lot in all three zones. Very smart. I wouldn't say that I would want him on my third line most of the time, but when you've got a great top six like that, what you can do is you can take a guy like Glass and Connor Brown, who maybe at this stage, Brown has gone through a ton of injuries in his career, and it's starting to look like it's catching up to him, to tell you the honest truth. But I think if you keep this line, see, New Jersey has the opportunity to play their top two lines against elite competition. They don't have to, whether they're on the road or at home, they can use either line to do that, which makes the offense that they get out of these lines even more impressive. That's the reason why Timo Meier probably, his offense, his numbers don't really look that high. If he was playing on another team where they were keeping him away from other teams' top lines or shutdown lines, he'd probably score more points. But I think if you can get Palat, Glass, and Brown playing against the third and fourth lines a lot, as much as possible, they bring a level of offense that most third lines don't have. And if you can start them in the offensive zone against those lines, I think they can take advantage of that and be pretty effective. It's not a third line that you would call a shutdown line, so you're not going to be playing him against the elite players. But overall, the way the makeup of this team is, I don't mind this. It's not great, but with the team makeup, it's definitely serviceable. When you get down to the fourth line, you have right now they have Paul Cotter. Oh, by the way, there's one player that I forgot that will make this even better when he is healthy. And where is he? I'll just keep on talking here. I can't find it right now. Is it Neeson? Neeson. Right. Okay. When Neeson comes back into this lineup, one of either Brown or Palat can probably go down to the fourth line. And then we're looking at a really good line. And I think Neeson on the third line here, I would do that instead of putting Mercer there. I have a feeling he'll go back to Mercer there on the third line. It's not terrible, but I would rather them do what I just said and use Neeson instead. He has more offensive ability than Brown, and I like Brown better here in the fourth line. Paul Cotter never really found his stride. He's 25 years old now, and it doesn't look like he's going to be much more than a below average third or a very good fourth. But as a on the fourth line here, I don't mind him. 6'2", 212. Doesn't drive offense, but if you give him offensive face-offs, like starts, he's pretty good in the offensive zone. He can hold his own, especially in the corners, and get the puck out, rag the puck, and cycle, and hold that possession in the offensive zone to give time for these upper lines to be able to get a little bit of a break, get some rest, and hopefully get back on the ice in the offensive zone. That's why you have a guy like Luke Glendening here, I think. I mean, this is a guy who is made his career off of, right now I believe he's on a PTO. I don't think they've officially signed him, but they may. He's made his career off of being an excellent face-off guy and a great penalty killer. 5-on-5, he's kind of meh. But if you're going to play this line in the offensive zone a lot, he'll win face-offs and give this Arseny Gritsyuk a chance with Paul Cotter to to rag the puck, like I said. And as far as I know, Gritsyuk is that type of player too. He's the kind of guy that can grind and possess in the offensive zone against lower lines, and be able to hold that puck in there to keep getting offensive possession for the next line that comes out. And that's really what fourth lines now are more and more becoming in the NHL. So it's not bad. It's a serviceable fourth line. I really would honestly take somebody other than Luke Glendening if they can find him, but they really don't have much to take over in these spots. That's the problem. I'm sure Bordelot will get his chance. I think he came over from San Jose. Juha Lamiko is like whatever. There's not much here to take the spot, so I think it's probably his to get, and hopefully you don't get too many injuries. But this New Jersey team, offensively, forward-wise, in a Metro division that isn't really that strong, should easily be top three. I would even say top two with Carolina in the division to make the playoffs. But let's go to the defense now. Jonas Siegenthaler and Dougie Hamilton. Both of these guys would be best off being second pair defensemen. But they don't really have top pair defensemen. I mean, Luke Hughes will probably be that down the road, but he isn't yet. So this line could be kind of exposed, or this pair could be exposed against tougher competition. Fortunately for them, they have a very good top six that plays an excellent three-zone defensive game that can give these guys a lot of a hand, and that's pretty big. That being said, Siegenthaler is very good defensively, And he did play against top competition and did very well against it. So it's not terrible. He just does it's he can't do much with the puck. That's pretty much the biggest problem with him. He's not the guy you want to be putting the puck on his stick on purpose to get out of the offensive zone. Which brings Hamilton, who I seriously thought he was going to be way better than he was. He too has struggled with injuries, and he's had years where he was very, very good, but he's fallen off quite a bit. Defensively, he's almost non-existent now. He's not very good, but he's a pure offensive guy, and when he gets the puck on his stick, he can move the puck really well, which is why they probably have, is why that Keefe is putting these two together. The problem with defensive pairings like this, though, is the opposition can do as much as they can to get the puck on the Siegenthaler's stick if they do happen to get maybe a little back on their heels. Dumping chases, they'll put it on Siegenthaler's stick and try to keep it away from Hamilton, and you can create turnovers that way. But it's not a terrible top line. There's far worse in the league for sure. But the good thing about it is they do have Hughes and Pesce as a second pair, and Pesce could play top pair, but they are Brett Pesce is an elite second pair. Very good defensively. He can move the puck better than a guy like Siegenthaler, actually, from the right side. Luke Hughes, right now, I'm going to say it. He's basically an average second pair defenseman right now. But he's only 22 years old. He's got all the tools. Great skater, really good shot, offensive abilities. The only thing Luke Hughes has to learn is how to move the puck out of the zone properly. He's a wonderful skater, but he has a tendency to skate the puck out of the zone when he should be looking for a pass or holding on to it and waiting for his wingers to get into place or start moving the other direction. I don't know how many times I saw Luke Hughes skating the puck out of the zone and the forwards were coming towards him, and that's basically all you can do is dump it in, and then the forwards aren't ready to go into the offensive zone, and you're basically just giving up possession. But he's got time still, and I know he's making $9 million a year. The type of offense he has, the type of skill he has, if his mind can catch up to the game, and I do believe it can, this $9 million probably won't look that bad. If we don't see progression in that area, though, it could get a bit scary. I'm going to bank that he probably does. I'm going to bank that he gets it figured out. He learns from Brett Pesce, who one of the big reasons why they picked Brett Pesce up. Also, it's just always awesome to have a Brett Pesce. To become more Brett Pesce-like in the defensive zone, neutral zone, learning how to not overplay in the offense, all of those little finer points that defensemen generally don't learn until they get to the NHL, at least at to be at the NHL level. But I still like these two pairs. I wouldn't say they have a true number one pair, but they have a really good top four, if you know what I mean, if you see what I'm saying. It's a solid top four. A lot of teams in the league would love to have a top four like this. Next, we get to Brendan Dillon and Simon Nemec. Brendan Dillon is a very, very good third pair defensive defenseman. Question is, he's had some injuries. He's coming off an injury now. How is he going to look? How is he going to look now? Is he going to be able to start smoothly and build himself back up again? I think he will. He's very smart, very solid, brings a lot of physicality. I mean, this whole defense is tall and big, really. 6'2" for Siegenthaler, 6'6" for Dougie Hamilton. I mean, I think that's another reason why Dougie Hamilton gets a lot of, because he's 6'6", 229. You'd like to see some physicality out of him, and he really doesn't show all that much of it. But Luke Hughes, 6'2", 200. Pesce, 6'3", 205. And then you got Brendan Dillon at 6'4", 225. Big boy. He's got a pretty good shot. he's not really the best puck mover in the world, but for a third pair defenseman, he's your classic third pair defensive defenseman. Simone Nemec, we'll see. We'll see. I still think it's early for him. I think he needs a lot more work in the minors, to tell you the honest truth. I know young players put a lot of pressure on teams to be able to get him up in the NHL, but I would really like to see him get more work in the minors. We'll see if he has a big jump this year. He might. He's 22 years old. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have talent. He's a good skater. He he has, again, one of those. He has all the offensive tools. He has all the tools that could make a good defenseman. It's just the mind for the defensive part of the game takes time in this league. I mean, most defensemen generally don't really hit their stride until they are like 26 years old. I'd say he's moving at a pretty good pace for a kid his age. His offensive game is obvious though. He's got a big shot. He's a good playmaker. He can run a power play. It's just the overall game he has to work on. The only thing is he also has been pretty much deployed in against a lot weaker competition. He's been sheltered. He's been given sheltered minutes up until now. So is that going to continue? We'll see. But at 20 years old, just being in the league at 20 years old is awesome. Overall, I think by the time he's 24, 25, this guy's going to be possibly, a top pair right defenseman. Just right now, I wouldn't necessarily put him that way. Guys that could take his spot. Well, Casey Seamus, he's a little older. I think they would probably use him, but he's injured right now. I think he's more in the better. I think he's in a better place right now than Nemec to take a spot like that. They went and got Kalen Addison. I don't know what happened to that kid. He just never developed. And besides that, there's not really many guys that can take these spots here. So it's going to be interesting to see if any injuries happen where that ends up. Oh, I forgot. Jonathan Kovacevic. Cannot forget about him. He's injured right now. If once he comes off the injury list, then I think you'll see Nemec get his AHL time. He's excellent. I love him. New Jersey has some of the best right defense in the league. Brett Pesce, I think they played him on the left side occasionally. But that'll bring the depth way up if Kovacevic comes up and plays as soon as he's ready. So overall, I think this is an excellent team. As far as goaltending, Markstrom, 35 years old now. He's one of those goaltenders that sometimes looks like he can win a Vezina, and then other times it looks like, what the heck? He's not very consistent. And I have found with Jacob Markstrom is if he gets overplayed, he starts to fade. He's the kind of guy that's should be played more like a 1A or a 1B than like a number one. You don't really want him taking, like, he played 49 games last year. He had some injury problems, and he's up and down. He's up and down. Fortunately for him, he had a great veteran in Jake Allen, who had an excellent year last year. And I think they should almost split it like 60-40, which they kind of did. They kind of did last year. I don't know. Markstrom's the kind of goaltender that you hope he's in his good place when the playoffs happen. Because when he's in the good place, when he's in his good space in his mind, when he's at his peak, when he's playing at the top of his game, he literally looks like a Vezina finalist or a Vezina winner. He can be just absolutely insanely good. But when things start to slide with Markstrom, it seems like they slide. Like his biggest weakness, I think, is that he lets things bother him too much. He swings his stick sometimes, and he's done it many a time. He swings his stick into the post and has like temper tantrums after games. And I don't think he's like, that's towards his defense or his players. It's towards himself. Sometimes I think he's just too hard on himself. He needs to just chill. which is weird for a Swede because Swedes are usually like that. Anyways, I think they're first in the division or second in the division, with Carolina probably second in the division. And then, man, I imagine they get past the first round again, depending on who they play, but more likely, and then losing the second round. That's They're just a little too green. And oh yeah, I didn't mention at forward. I just think they need this a little more anger, a little more grr. Like Jack Hughes does have that, no doubt about it. But I'm talking about guys that really don't mind bringing the pain. There's not much of that in this lineup. They're smart players. They're good three-zone defensive players. They and all of that. They're like what you would get if you just went on straight analytics to build a team. But straight analytics don't win cups, my friends. I'd like to see a little more hate in this lineup, a little more willing to do anything to win physically and bringing more pain, more grind to this lineup. And maybe they'll find it. They don't have much cap room to find it. They do have the picks, though. I don't know how that'll look, but I think playing Dawson Mercer up in the top line will help because he does bring that to a certain degree. Overall, I think they're a very good team. I doubt very much they make a cup run. More like a second round and out, and that's just becoming too much of a theme here with New Jersey, and I think New Jersey fans are getting a little tired of it. I don't know what to tell you. Unless Jack Hughes just goes absolutely out of his head, and he can do that. Jack Hughes could be the catalyst that carries this team to a playoff run. And like I said, their top six is there. It's not out of the question. I mean, I'm not saying they definitely can't, but I think things would have to go their way a little bit for them to be able to make it. I don't think they're a lock. I think it's more second round and outs for the New Jersey Devils. All right. Thank you, my friends, for listening in. You can find me at Pearlo's NHL POW on Twitter, where you can get all my content. The opportunity, if you go to the community link on the top of my profile in Twitter, you can become part of the Pearlo community, and you will get extreme deals on my NHL picks this year. Like, I'm talking like $20 a month, which is ridiculously low considering we make a lot of money. Okay?